Thank God my parents died. What a title. Why would you thank God that your parents died? Your dad actually sold you off. Because a child is born, and the only thing that we would really hope for every child is a loving home, a loving mother, a loving family. But you were kidnapped at the age of 6. Hello and welcome to Woman Power. I'm your host Lorna Greyling, and in today's episode we are going to be talking to the very talented Judy, Judith van Tonder. I have got your book here. It is absolutely phenomenal. It says, "Thank God my parents died." What a title.
Yes, it is.
Wow. I mean, I have heard a lot of stories, but this book really grabbed my attention. Why would you thank God that your parents died?
Yes, it sounds aggressive at first, but it really isn't. It's a memoir of hope, because it's not like I prayed and wished that God would let my parents drop dead. That was not the intention. The intention was that I prayed so long for relief, and my parents still kept me captured, and in many ways emotionally, mostly after I even had my children. And that was so debilitating that eventually I just prayed to God, let me be free. So after their passing, of course, I then felt like God gave me a way to start my own life without the torment of my parents.
Wow. Because a child is born, and the only thing that we would really hope for every child is a loving home, a loving mother, a loving family. But you were kidnapped at the age of 6.
Yes.
How did that happen then?
Well, my mother and father got a divorce. At that stage, my father was a full-fledged alcoholic, but we were 3 children, and my mother was so late for work. She worked 3 jobs, and the supervisor of one of her jobs asked why she's so late, and she then explained that she's got these 3 children with measles. And the superintendent and this lady came with her home and saw us in bed with the measles, and she then offered my mom to keep me over the December vacation holidays, which ended up to be extended for 5 years.
Goodness.
She wouldn't give me back, and her aim was that she's trying to make me a better person than my parents, which was in a very aggressive and abusive manner.
Wow. So she pretended to take care of you and to help you, and then literally just wouldn't give you back to your mom.
That's right. Now, on the other hand, my mom and dad were then both full-fledged alcoholics, and we were all separated. My 2 brothers,
as well.
yes, and she tried to keep them, but they went into a children's home. And I then was with her, and you never know what goes on in a person's mind. How she justified what she did. She thought she was trying to change me, to make me better, but she told me nearly every day how bad and useless I am, like my parents. So it's a stigma that carries on. You try so hard not to be like your parents, whoever they were, because I didn't know anymore.
Goodness. And as a little girl, 6 years old, what went through your mind when you had to wake up in this new home every day with someone telling you how useless you are? How do you survive that as a little girl?
In my book I explained that I had these little spirit flies. It's when the pain was so immense. I think children's imagination go into some amazing places, how you can lock out this extreme abuse. And mine was little spirit flies, little lights that I saw that would come and visit me. I'd see green and blue, and they'd all represent different emotions and calming entities toward me. And this is how I survived that.
It's almost like a higher power,
Well, it was God's Holy Spirit all the time.
I can imagine, to come and comfort you.
Exactly.
In those moments.
Exactly.
That is phenomenal. Because mentally, I think, because you're amazing now. You're such a beautiful woman. You are a phenomenal wife. You've been married for 43 years. You have 2 beautiful children, very, very successful. But to have a life like you've got right now, and to look at what you have and where you are and the artist that you are, and now also the book that you've written, and where you started out, there has got to be some kind of, I would say, godly intervention and a lot of emotional healing to get you to where you are right now. What would you say was the most profound healing and things that you've gone through to get you from there, the abuse, to where you are right now?
In retrospect, I look back and I realize I wanted to do everything opposite of what was done to me badly, that was wrong. So I lived in such contrast of reverse, and I reversed the abuse, but it all started basically with a choice.
Wow.
We're all living with choices. A lot of people blame their parents. I do this because it was done to me. And we know abuse has a pattern to continue like that. But I also believe that we're all intelligent human beings, and unless you are mentally disabled, I believe that God has given you a mind to know and make a choice. We all have choices, even those who do not believe in God. And this is the choice I made because I wanted to have a better life. I lived for so long trying to capture my childhood. I missed out on so many things, but I relived them through my children, raising them. When we played Barbies, I played 100% with. And if it was cars, it was 100%. I really indulged in playing with my children, loving them, looking at them as little miracles. But it wasn't easy, you're right. There were times where I found myself outside in the dark of night crying and not knowing, as through young adult and more mature and middle-aged, and I definitely had those things, but I did get help. I went to see people that can help me, professionals, and that gave me a guide, and then a lot of mind altering that I had to do for myself, and this really contributed to a peaceful, very forgiving past. I've forgiven everybody, every of my abusers. And
I was just going to ask you that, because so what I hear from you is, firstly, you made a choice. I mean, you didn't choose what was done to you, but you chose what to do with that.
Yes.
And that is so, so, so powerful. And then to get help, I think that is profound. A lot of people think that this will pass, or, as long as we hide it, it will go away.
Exactly.
And that is not always the case, right?
No, it's not.
And then forgiveness. I heard about your story, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that your dad actually sold you off, that he found you at one stage.
Yes, the lady that kidnapped me, we were living, and she fled with me as soon as there was a court interdict to hand me over. We went to another province in South Africa. So this lady, when my father arrived at her door at a time when he found me, and she actually made me hide under the bed. And I was petrified, but then that was part of my life. I was raised having anxiety all the time. And I heard the nanny told me that there's a white man, he says he's your father and he's going to take you away. And I was petrified. And I know how she consoled me. And then she came back to tell me also, and a cousin confirmed it years later, that why she didn't give me to my father was she offered him money.
And he took it.
So I was sold.
And how did that make you feel?
I didn't know at the time.
Sure.
But, in retrospect, all these little things accumulate in your mind, in your heart, in your whole being. And I had to really work hard to come out of rejection. And I have an amazing husband who just accepts me for who I am, and we have a lot of humor, which has helped a lot. But yes, I do sometimes still feel uncomfortable to go into places with other people and that. But I now have the tools that I've learned to get to grasp on my inner peace and hold on to that, because we're all just human beings on this earth. The person that I might meet where I'm standing with anxiety might have exactly the same experience as what I do.
Yeah, we never know, right?
No, we don't.
What someone has gone through in their lives. It's so easy to meet someone and look at them and think, what a beautiful, blessed person, looking good, driving certain cars, living in certain houses, and you judge them from the outside. Yes. And we don't know what someone actually has gone through or carrying inside of them. We were in the shop, I think yesterday, and my oldest daughter said to me, there was a lady who was so friendly to us. I mean, it was just random, such a friendly smile. We entered the shop and everybody was just friendly and welcome, and how that changes an atmosphere. It's just incredible, just that little bit of kindness, right? To be kind to people, because we never know what they've gone through.
Yes.
You're an amazing inspiration. I know for many, and I know now you use your experience and your story to also impact the lives of other young children. Tell us about that.
Well, I do mostly speak to women. I mentor ladies, sometimes just by phone, others I see physically, and it's all Christ-based, but the main theme that I'm trying to get across before the children grow up to fast, and you haven't had the time to reverse if you've been doing something wrong. Often we do small little things and you just say, oh, I'm so sorry. That's okay. But I'm talking about continuous, hurtful, negative implanting, which lives with that child. I mean, I was an old lady and I said, Lord, when am I ever going to get rid of these feelings? And you know what? They don't go away. We learn to live with them. But I'm trying to protect the children on the earth. Be kind to your children. And if you equip people, often by my example of how I was raised, they realize that, wow, if you can be a good parent with an abusive background, and you can really you
can break that cycle, right?
Break the cycle,
because it's very often a vicious circle. It's literally someone who has been abused usually abuses, because there's that terrible hurt, that immense trauma, and that inability to know how to deal with all this pain. So the pain comes out in what we do, what we say, and how we handle things, right?
Exactly.
But you've gone and you've gotten help, and you apply the help.
Exactly. That
is the key, right?
Yes,
that is that difference between just carrying over this abuse and just having a new slate. It's not going to be without falling down or without mistakes,
no.
But it's the continuous trying and applying of what you've learned.
Exactly. It's like a metamorphosis.
Mm.
As long I could sometimes fall back and grab all these things and have anxiety, but then how long am I going to hold on to that? Don't we all just want peace, harmony, and a great life for us, your children, your family? So the way that I've realized to deal with it, I'm not going to have one moment living in the implementation of the abuse that I've received, and it was implanted. And the thing is, now I live in peace and happiness. Not continuous happiness, things happen, but in that peace. And that I do as a revenge to my abusers. Every day I live in peace and harmony without a reflection on the abuse or pulling me down. I'm actually revenging.
That is so powerful. I love that outlook, is to live on purpose in revenge to my abusers.
Yes, exactly.
Because I find when we speak to people, and even I think in my own life, it's almost natural to want to revenge people that has been mistreating you in ways.
Oh, absolutely.
Right, and we want to revenge them by hanging on to anger and unforgiveness, and by doing back what has been done to us. But you've turned it completely the other way around. You've on purpose decided that you are going to portray love, forgiveness, and live on purpose to change this cycle in revenge to your abusers. That is so powerful. I love that.
Thank you. Yeah.
You were not only kidnapped and abused for many years, you also ended up in an abusive children's home. How did that happen?
Yes, now, to take the story, the children's home I went to in South Africa was in Bloemfontein, but I've been there since, and things have changed so much. But unfortunately, in the time I was there, which was in years back, I felt everybody was working with anger and very strong men roles as leaders of this children's home. You would get spanked, and then you'd have also the other children. They've got so many hang-ups, and they would abuse you by smacking you, and you would be sitting studying at your desk doing your homework, and the older kids with all their hatred, pain and suffering within themselves would come past and hit your back of your head into the desk. And so you were always so cautious, another add to anxiety, that something's going to hit you or happen or break you any moment. And the nights that you go to sleep hungry, I was so hungry. That was the days that I can never forget, that extreme hunger as a child, to go to sleep being hungry, and I started chewing on my pillow at night. But on the other hand, I always, as I did it, I was always thinking, my pillow. I had this vision that the one corner of my pillow is my husband, the other corner am I, the one corner at the bottom is my daughter, and the other one is my son, and I'm lying in the comfort of that.
Wow. And
they were my pillow children, and I still call them my pillow children.
That's amazing.
Because that is they're still my comfort and my healing.
It's a wonderful idea to, even in a circumstance like that, to go into a little bit of a dream world and escape through a dream world, right? So did you always want 2 kids, a daughter and a son and a husband? Well, that was you were small in the children's home holding on to that.
Yes, because I don't know where I got it from. You just want this comfort of your dream. I stood in the children's home looking at through the burglar bars, and they were there to hold us in, not for burglars to come inside. And I would stand there and I would really just look at the road where all the cars are passing on a Saturday. And I would think by myself, oh my gosh, if only I could be in one of those cars, and I know there's a husband and wife and a daughter and a son. I want to be in that car.
You visualized this new family.
Absolutely.
And this is exactly what you've got. Your dream literally came true. You've been married for 40
But let me
years.
tell you, if I had 3 girls and 6, 7 or 8 boys, it would have also been fine.
Wow.
It's just that it was so strange. It happened exactly like that. And I find a lot of comfort in my children, Michelle and Michael.
Do you think that what you're doing now by helping other people overcome what is being done to them is also part of healing and finding your purpose in life?
Yes, I've done this so long, and it's like it comes naturally. If I see hurting, I try to not fix it. I want to lead the person who's causing the hurt, or the person who's receiving the hurt, to encourage them by my example. So I definitely find that I also speak to people who have never been abused, mothers that are struggling to be mothers. Mothers don't know all the answers on, if you just had that little helpline you call, okay, do you think I should let my son go out to the movies tonight or not?
Right?
There's nobody telling you that.
There's no manual for parenting. It is the most important job in the world.
Yes.
And it's the only thing that there's literally no set rule book for. It's hard.
It's really hard, yeah. So I even have those women that I can just say, I ease their minds in many ways. Sometimes you just need somebody to listen to.
Wow.
And I love doing that. And I am part of, I help with a Safe Path. It's a abused children organization here in Atlanta. And just with the funds and love, for me, I find it very difficult to work with children that have already been abused. I don't know.
The pain is too much for you?
The pain is too much.
So even going through everything that you've gone through and all the healing, would you say there's still certain areas that you would limit yourself in, almost keeping yourself safe from certain things? So you've also kind of established where you are able to apply your help and make a difference, and other areas where you kind of feel like that's okay, there are other people to help in those areas, because the trauma, one's got to be real as well. Like there are certain triggers that is just still too much.
I used, it's a scripture in the Bible, but I use this overall, is to guard your heart.
Yes, powerful.
Yes, you could go out and do and it would be just too hurtful. So am I doing myself an injustice? Yes, I am. I want to be a better person. So I want to go out and reach people to better themselves, but not at the cost of my own walk.
Powerful. Judy, it's been an absolute blessing to speak to you. You are a phenomenal woman and so inspiring. Thank you for joining us here in Atlanta today.
Thank you so much. Love being here.
Well, that's it from me, your host, Lorna Greyling, right here with Women Power. I hope you enjoyed today's show. If you would like to get your hands on this phenomenal book from Judith and Tonder, you can have a look on the screen right now. The link will be on there. You can go to her website and order it straight off Amazon. Thank you for watching. See you again next week.
You sleep on volcanic rock. You haven't eaten in 2 days. Your home has been destroyed by the ongoing violence. Everything you know and held dear are gone. The clothes you wear is all you have. You have seen family members being raped and murdered. Your only focus is to survive another day. The conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo has claimed more than 5 million lives, making it the planet's deadliest conflict since World War II. Although the conflict has officially ended, much of the country remains desperately poor, with horrific levels of sexual violence and millions of people displaced from their homes and schools. Continuous fighting and widespread sexual violence in the eastern regions make it one of the most dangerous places on earth to be a woman. Treat and educate millions of women in Africa who live with this terrible condition that can be rectified with surgery. We also support an orphanage who takes care of over 100 children. As well as a local women empowerment organization that assists displaced women in the conflict with trauma counseling, safe lodging, and they try to create a for someone else, it can change their world. Your contribution from as little as a panty, one Dignity Dreams pack, up to sponsoring one surgery will change lives beyond your wildest dreams in a country where none of us can imagine the circumstances. We cannot change the world, but we can change someone's world one at a time, and you can be part of that.